Such a good photographer. Okay, so this is actually an involuntary response. You guys, we can see that resistance training can increase this even. So you have an involuntary response that's hanging out. If you will train it properly, guys, you can increase this between 19 and 55%. So this tells me if you work on your plyometric training, what is going to happen to that reflex potentiation? It'll do what? Not just go up, but how about like skyrocket? Yes? And check out what part of the body has an incredible potential. The soleus muscle. Hey, where's the soleus muscle located? No. Dylan said across your thigh, Conger. No, Conger, he needs to study his anatomy. Yeah, Conger shout out. I'll tag him in that when I post it. Okay, hey, where's your soleus? Okay, so you got your gastroc, and then what? Then you got your soleus, and then you have your what? You got, say it. You have your Achilles tendon. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, go like this and mash on one of these tendons that connects with your wrist and your thumb. Push on that one. Okay, and if you'll look at that, believe it or not, that thing's pretty skinny, isn't it? Okay, pinch it right there. Does anyone see it? Okay, now, everyone reach down in the room and touch your Achilles tendon. Bigger in diameter? Yes or no? Yes. Your soleus, where it connects to your Achilles tendon, has the ability, when trained efficiently and effectively, to increase your potential to generate force by up to 50%. So why aren't we doing it? We're treating our bodies like skinny rubber bands instead of wrist rockets. And whenever you train like a wrist rocket, you can see that involuntary response make magic happen. This is why. Does it make sense that we do plyometric training with volleyball players? Does it make sense that we do plyometric training with basketball players? Does it make sense that for athletes that require explosive potential, we have to tap into this? Friends, you guys, I even think, and y'all know me, I'm counterculture to a lot of things. We gotta have aerobic athletes even. You guys, would it make sense that I need a runner to have more reflex potentiation in their soleus? Yes or no? Why? Because in the act of running, if I have more reflex potentiation, I potentially could run faster. And also, not only faster, but more efficient because of the spring action. Question. Say it loud.
So would the Achilles tendon tear, would that affect the soleus in that way?
Absolutely. So here's what we know. We know that big things can have big injuries. Have y'all ever heard about someone rupturing their Achilles tendon? And then you guys think about this. Whenever you rupture an Achilles tendon, it all of a sudden causes your soleus and your gastroc to just ball up, because that's what's anchoring it down there to your calcaneus. Okay? So when that gets severed, boom, that has to come up because it is loaded with potentiation. Now, we know that many times whenever we have someone with an Achilles rupture, you got to go in and you got to surgically repair it. Yes, that's one of the longest recoveries back, which is why we tell people you have to do your mobility work with your calves, with your soleus, and with your Achilles tendon. This is why we've got to be careful with that. Now, should we aggressively or progressively do that kind of training? Progressively do that, without a doubt. So I got it when you got it. Again, that's called a myotactic reflex. That is so amazing. Do you want your body to be like a skinny rubber band or a wrist rocket slingshot?
Wrist rocket slingshot.
Nice. I knew you'd have that answer. Now, if we were going to measure all of these things, we would actually use a thing called an EMG. That's electromyography. Now, let's just say we took electromyography and we actually placed it on an athlete by putting it right there on the calf, on the soleus, and on the Achilles. This might be an untrained individual. So all of a sudden we have that untrained individual that's like the little skinny rubber band, and you say, okay, jump as high as you can. And it's like, okay. Then you take them through a progressive, well thought out, well trained plyometric program that helps them tap into their myotactic reflex. And then all of a sudden I could do that same EMG study 6 to 8 weeks later, and all of a sudden we would have those electrodes on there. We would say, now load and jump as high as you can. And we would actually be able to measure that change using electromyography. Now here's the whole thing. We might not have availability to electromyography, but what could I actually measure with that? I can measure vertical jump just to ensure that my program is actually working. Okay? Jump over with me and let's talk about a few more things that take place during training sessions. Okay? We actually see this interesting thing called the body makes accommodations. And that's up there in that top paragraph. What do you think some of the accommodations that the body makes during training? What do you think it does? Your body will respond to? That's what accommodations are. If you progressively ask your body to accommodate the changes, it will. It really will. But guess what? You're not going to increase your myotactic reflex by sitting on your butt. You're not going to increase your myotactic reflex by leading a sedentary life. You have to get in there. You guys, it's an involuntary thing that's waiting to be unleashed. We're just choosing to keep it in its cage instead of letting it roar. We have to let that happen. Remember, it's the recipe for the fountain of youth. You get to choose. Okay, interesting thing about the body and about how the central nervous system is wired together. There's this thing called cross-education. Now, you know that you have a line down the middle of your brain that separates your right and left hemisphere. Say, got it when you got it. Here's what's interesting. If you train one side of your body, which means you're training unilaterally, okay? And you all of a sudden say, you know what? I'm only going to work the left side of my body. It's actually possible, because of cross-education, it's actually possible that the untrained limb really could end up getting up to 22% stronger. You have no reaction to that? Okay, so if cross-education is something that takes place, when, where, how could we apply this principle to our world?
Rehab.
What?
Rehab.
Rehab. Amen. So let's just say that I have someone that gets their shoulder just destroyed. They've got to go in, they've got to have it completely put back together. So this person is now immobilized. And as we see this immobility coming into play, should I still do something in the uninjured arm?
Yes.
Yes, because here's the thing. Wouldn't it be better for that athlete when they come back to at least be starting off between 8 and 22% better already? Yes. Hey, is 8% better than 0% better? Yes. So this is the beautiful thing. You guys, sometimes we forget how amazing our brain is at sending messages from one side to the other side. And again, that's called cross-education. The right side will talk to the left side, and the left side will talk to the right. Let me ask you a question. Do we think that magical things have taken place in Dr. Priest's lab, potentially because of cross-education?